I've been doing this long enough to know that every once in a while, this new thing becomes sexy. And dude, anytime something new becomes sexy, everybody rushes in. And that's when stuff goes bad. Real estate investing, getting wealthy, social media, all of these things really want it to be exciting. Lots of moving parts, lots of technology, lots of possibilities. But at the end of the day, folks, trust me, as somebody who's been in the game for 20 plus years, like Omar, there is something to be said for boring is sexy. Folks, at the end of the day, real estate investing should be boring. It shouldn't be stressful. So I want to break this down a little bit, talk about the reality that boring is sexy with the one and only Omar Alfaro from the high desert. How you doing, buddy?
Good. What's up, Michael? Appreciate our Tuesdays. We missed a couple, but we're back in action, and you couldn't be more spot on about boring is sexy, because that mundane every single day type of process will get you further along if you're staying consistent. And everybody doesn't want to do that boring work. And man, being in this game for over 20 years, like you as a veteran, we still learn a thing or two, and we still see what's going on like out there with the people that have been in the business for 5 to 10 years and they have crazy success. I mean, maybe call it timing, call it luck, call it whatever, but if you're disciplined enough to go through the process, then you'll end up getting lucky too. So
Yeah.
it's the dedication, it's the being in the uncomfortable era or that uncomfortable avenue for longer periods of time will end up being something sexy later.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in this game a long time. You know, I mean, people don't realize for 3 years, I looked at a very small buy box every day. And Fresno's a massive place. I looked at like 1/100th or even maybe 1/200th of the market. That's all I looked at. That means I missed everything else. But that's all I could do, right? Talk about boring being sexy. But here's another example. I remember 2021. So pandemic.
Let's talk about it.
Early 2021. I am
Uh-huh.
a boring buy and hold investor. And I was getting clowned on, just clowned on by all these short-term rental folks. Oh, you Mr. $200 a month guy. You should be making $2,000 a month with
Right,
short-term rentals.
right.
And Olivia and I talked about it. We did. And what we said again, where we were in our investing careers, we don't need to start a new business, right? We knew that being a short-term rental host was a hospitality business. It didn't fit any of our models. We weren't even sure our team could do that in Fresno. So we said no. But I got to tell you, I was questioning myself. But now in hindsight, 5 years later, I'm so
Ha!
glad that boring was sexy.
Hey, let's talk about that for a minute, because you guys didn't do it, okay? And I stumbled across it in 2020 when had bought a house in Havasu in 2018 or 2017 for like pennies. I mean, I literally picked it up for a couple $100K, and it was paid off, and I let it sit there.
Yeah, it
I
was a
didn't even
vacation
Airbnb
spot for you.
it. Yeah, it was for the family. My dad loved that house. Actually, when he passed, we had so many videos of him just having a great time in the backyard. And there's this one spot where he was dancing, to some Mexican music, in the backyard of our Havasu house. That's why
Nice.
I'll never sell that. I'll never sell that house. It'll
Right.
just be a cash flowing asset. But I digress a little bit. But the couple years I had it, I'm like, what's everybody doing this Airbnb thing?
What is
And I
this thing?
remember 2019 in November, I went ahead and did the Airbnb thing on that property, and I'm like, whoa, we made like $7,000. This is crazy. Like,
Right.
we can't get that for rent. And of course, I drank the Kool-Aid a little bit, but I drank the Kool-Aid because of the market of the area, right? So that's
Yep.
when I bought 3 properties in 2020 out there, plus the existing one I had, and I made them all short-term rentals for the exception of one. And they crushed for a period of time, for a season or a season and a half. But then I saw the writing on the wall, like you did. You didn't jump in. I did. but then I jumped out before everybody else jumped out, and I put them all long term, and I was able to withstand all the bullshit that happened.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but not to mention Havasu did well, but of course I drank the other Kool-Aid and I went to Big Bear. And
Yeah. A
that
lot of people
Kool-Aid
went to Big
there,
Bear.
that
Yeah.
Kool-Aid there was like, shit. All right. And to this day, till right now, we're negative 5K a month on 2 houses that are up there. We don't rent them out because nobody's booking the nightly stays. They're
Yeah.
not. And I'm like, okay, so we're making the adjustments. And so I got caught there, but I did well in Havasu. So
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, that's the problem is, again, a lot of people drank the Kool-Aid. And this is, again, this is not pointing you, but this is just human nature, right? You try it once and you go, some is good, more is better. You double, you triple down. And I know there's a lot of people that went to Big Bear. A lot of people went to Big Bear. A lot of
Too
people went
many.
to, well, exactly. Supply and demand. Demand was artificially high. Nobody can go
Super.
anywhere. People create units. Now it's oversupplied. Nobody's booking nights. You're negative $5,000 a month. You drink the cool. This is, again, you got to know where you are in your season in life. I've been doing this long enough to know that every once in a while, this new thing becomes sexy. And dude, anytime something new becomes sexy, everybody rushes in. And that's when stuff goes bad.
It does, like if you're in it just to, make the quick buck, I could see that that's going to be causing an issue. But if you're going to be in it for the long haul, and I really, really like hunkered down and figured out the rates and stuff like that, Michael, then I'm sure it'll end up paying you because I know a lot of successful people that have Airbnbs in their
Mhm.
portfolios, and they absolutely crush it. And it's
No,
like,
I think
how?
short-term rentals are a great thing. You just got to be careful.
Yeah,
Even
that's
with
it.
short-term rentals, boring is sexy. Find a model that works. Don't
Mhm.
chase trends. Don't chase the
True,
momentum. Watch
true.
the supply. Know the asset. Like, for example, one of our weekly guests, Anna Kelly, she has oceanfront Airbnbs.
Right, big difference.
Big difference. Only a couple of them. Like, there's 8 houses on the strip on this one little piece of land in Florida. There's only 8 of them. If you want to be on the water, you got like 3 to choose from because the others are residents. You got to be careful. And to your other point, I want to celebrate you is when the momentum breaks, pivot like what you did in Havasu. Because if you wait too long, others will pivot and you'll be caught, then you'll have $5,000 a month negative there also. And pretty soon those negatives become alligators and bad stuff happens.
Oh, big time. I mean, and you sit there, and this is the crazy part. When bad stuff happens, um, and if you're making a bunch of money, you don't see the bad stuff because you're so
Yeah.
focused on the higher dollar activities and it's washing out the garbage, right? But
Right.
it's not washing out the garbage. It's like you're not realizing that you're bleeding. Sure,
Yeah.
you're on dialysis, you're having a bunch of blood coming in,
Yeah.
but you're bleeding at the same time. So it's like, what are you doing? So how about this? How about stop the bleeding, slowly get off the dialysis, and have your heart start pumping normal blood, and you're not losing
Yes.
money.
There you
And
go.
it's crazy. But the thing is, I will share this with you, Michael. If you're not looking at your portfolio on a literally weekly basis on where my money is at and how much money is it making, because it's the cost of the equity, it's the cost of the money that you have invested, that if you're only making a 2 or 3% return or a 5% return annually on this cash on cash return, sure, you have appreciation and depreciation, but sometimes that money could be used in other units, 10, 15 units, just like you did when you sold a couple properties into a bigger unit that tripled your cash flow. So now your money, you just, instead of going 5%, you're making 15% on the
Yep.
money invested. And a lot of people don't do that. And I was definitely the person that did not look at it that way until recently. And the reason
Mhm.
I started looking at it recently is because market changes, flips take longer. The regular residential real estate market was kind of halted for a while. It still kind of is. It's not. There's not a bunch of houses selling, and it made me look at everything. Where is my cost at? And I hate to say, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but if you're focusing on the top line increasing, which everybody is, right? Go make more earned income.
Yeah.
You won't see the bleeding if you only focus on the earned income to make more. You have to also see where your money is going and what's it creating. And
Yep.
it's taken me some time, and I'm 20 years in, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like Michael went through this process, and you sold all those little singles and duplexes to get the 10 plexes and the 12 and the 18 or whatever it is that you have in the portfolio. But you did those because you saw the cost of money. You weren't making enough on those little small deals.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then the last thing I want to bring up is, again, this whole notion of boring is sexy. I want to talk to the new investors. Folks, don't overcomplicate it. The housing market, as Omar is highlighting, is changing. It's evolving. This is the time where boring is sexy. Just keep repeating, keep going at it. Don't try to get creative. This is not 2020 where everything works and, when you make an error, you make more money. This is the time, blocking and tackling, run the ball up the middle. Nothing sexy. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. No alligators. Don't bet on appreciation. Just write great offers, track days on market, and keep doing the work.
100%. Put that work in. Do the daily activities.
I love it, man.
Boring
is sexy. Omar, where can people find you? They want to ask questions, network, join your team, buy something. What do they do?
You guys follow me on IG at Invest with Omar, or go to onerentalatatime.com. Got a bunch of content there, and you guys can reach out to me.
Thank you, buddy. Take care.
You too.